So we're gonna say another good evening to Aaron. And I'm sorry to be a minute late, but we had a little Zoom problem, but now we're here, we're up, we're ready to go. So how are you, my friend? How are you doing?
I am doing well and just excited to be here this evening.
Awesome. Awesome. I like to hear. Every
Thank
week you
you.
come in with something different. I like that.
You know what? Like I said, I like to switch it up for this program. Like to give you guys some spice and some newness.
Yeah, no, well, I like that too. So I'm gonna, usually I want to start everything first by you introducing yourself. Let me know for the new listeners, let them know who you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm Erin. I'm a self-love and divorce recovery coach. So I help men and women become the heroines or hero of their own epic love story. So I am here today to talk to you about dun 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 boundaries, everyone's favorite. Let's be serious. Everyone is very timid about putting boundaries up because we get this idea that boundaries are bad
Hmm.
and boundaries are something that is something to stop a partner from doing something, or that will make them super mad. I mean, obviously if they're a bad partner, they will not listen. But boundaries are a way that actually allow you to practice self-love and practice self-care, because you are allowing to put boundaries on things that are protecting your core values.
Hmm.
For you to really embrace that, you need to know what you value, and you need to know what you're worth and what you want out of a relationship and what you want out of life. So in terms of boundaries, if you don't have boundaries, and I'm going to admit that I was one of these people that just did not have boundaries, and I allowed for people to kind of walk all over me, and just didn't want to upset anyone, didn't want to make anyone disappointed in me. So with relationships, for me, I would just say yes to everything and basically bend over backwards for a partner because I didn't want to lose them.
Hmm.
And some of the ways that we some of the ways we why the reasons why we don't create boundaries is for exactly that. You're a people pleaser and you don't want to hurt your partner, or you don't want to hurt a date or like mess up a date because you don't want to lose them. And really that comes down to self-worth and not knowing that you actually deserve love and deserve boundaries because you are important. So being able to create boundaries for yourself is creating a worth. You're creating value for yourself. And to be quite honest, your partner is going to actually respect, I mean, the right partner is going to respect that. They're going to be like, wow, this person is really, really standing their ground and know what they want, and like is not just being like a wet towel and just laying it all out for the person to like use and abuse. So that's one of the ways. And the other one is the obviously the fear of losing someone. So making someone upset, let's say your partner is doing something that you really don't agree with, that goes against what you value. So let's say they are constantly criticizing you, or they're, constantly taking jabs at you. And I've been in relationships like that, and it's not fun. And in previous relationships, I would just allow that to happen. And then I started to believe that about myself. But if you know your core values and you know what you're worth and you know you deserve better, you're not going to take that shit.
Very true.
You're going to actually, the thing with boundaries is once you have this and you know your core values and you know your worth, you're actually not going to settle for the shit that you once did. You're not going to settle for someone who treats you like crap, someone who, doesn't believe in the things that you do. And I mean, this is not about being critical. This is not about having high standards. This is about putting a value on you. Because if you don't value yourself, how is someone else going to value you? So, yeah, so basically finding, and really that is like what we've been talking about, is just taking the time to sit down and be like, what do I value in a relationship? Is that love? Is that respect? Is that communication? Um, these are all different boundaries that you can as a part of your relationship. To value your communication, to talk things out before you go to sleep at night, or to be able to have a weekly date every week, and that is something that you need to have in your relationship in order for it to work. And if it doesn't, that's something that you don't like either. So just knowing what you value and putting emphasis on that when you're looking for a partner. And even if you're in a relationship, you can still do this. You can still look at your relationship and be like, okay, what are my core values? Is this person treating me nicely? Is this person, doing the things that shows respect, that shows love to you, and is not putting you down? And if it's not happening and the person is not respecting you, and this goes for dates as well, if they're not respecting you on the date, one of the things that's coming into my brain is that because all of this dating is happening, and this online dating, and I've experienced it myself, where I have got into situations where people are, including myself, have like slept with someone right on the first date. And I have now created a boundary for myself, because if you sleep with someone on the first date, it's basically saying like I mean, obviously there are some situations where, yeah, you're gonna, maybe the magic happens and you found your husband, and like, sparks fly and you jump in the sack and it's great. But having that time to step back and say, is this a right choice for me? Do I value, myself in terms of like, let's see where this goes? Because if you end up giving this away too early, then, what's the point in, waiting and seeing if it flourishes? Because they could turn out to be a really big asshole and you didn't know. And now you've, you know, jumped in the sack. And the thing is with doing that is that it kind of speeds up your relationship, and it actually puts, you know, it pushes you forward a lot quicker. So if you create that boundary for yourself and say, you know what, I'm going to step back and I'm going to let you wait. And not in a bad way, but more so just showing the other person that you have value and you're worth the wait. And one of the ways that you can actually feel things that are outside of your comfort or outside of your boundaries. And one of the things that I had to learn is that you actually you feel it in your body. You feel agitated, you feel anxious. If something doesn't feel right, usually your body will tell you. So that was one of the things, as a people pleaser and as a person who did not have any self-worth, I did a lot of things and completely ignored the fact that I was getting, signals from my body that, this was against kind of who I am and what I wanted. I didn't know that until I started listening
So
and knowing my worth.
how long did it took you before you actually realized, like, you know what, my body's is telling me this, because they know people they're human beings, and they're gonna ignore it for the first few times, maybe a week, maybe a month, maybe even longer, a year. How long did it took you before you realized, you know what, my body is saying this is enough. My mind, my everything.
Mine's way more than a year.
Wow, wow.
And that's bad. That's really bad to not know yourself enough and know your boundaries and know your values just to not listen. And I mean, do I regret not listening? I mean, yes and no, but I wouldn't be sitting here if I like didn't have the story that I do. But now I want to share that with people because your body is an amazing thing. It knows you so well that it's able to, communicate with you when things are off. And I bet you that you have had a moment
Mm.
in a relationship when you knew
Yeah,
that this is probably not right and you went forward.
yeah.
I mean, how many times? I mean, it's been a handful of times for me, more than I want to admit. But
And
that's where, the boundaries comes in and in setting intentions for yourself.
mm,
And the way to communicate that to a partner or a date is being clear and concise. And I know that this can be cringeworthy and you're like, oh, I don't want to do it. Like, what if they don't talk to me anymore? Like, what if they, delete me off the app? Or, what if they break up with me? Who cares? Because they were never your person anyway. If they were, they'd be like, you know what? That's super cool. I mean, I don't know if they'd say super cool, but they'd be like, yeah, you're one kick ass person that I want to continue to date, and you're worth the wait, you're worth the boundaries, you have self respect. And you're gonna have a better relationship because you both are gonna respect each other.
the thing is, you're right about the social media. So many times, my friends
I don't even want to go there
they
with
break
it
up,
because
they break up, and with their ex or whatever, and they refuse to like cut all ties in terms of social media, whatever, and they always they check their pages and then they get upset and like I just be stupid and I do agree with you. I think if you and this person is no longer in that committed relationship and for a fact it will cause any type of ripple problems, I do think that you should cut yourself completely off of this person, and give that person time to heal. And also,
yeah.
I do agree. I do.
Yeah. And also one thing I want to touch on, if you're in a relationship, and like I said, if you're evaluating your relationship on whether, what your values are, and the relationship is not great, or it's really not good, and you're in some sort of situation that puts you in danger, I want you to really assess that situation and think about your value and yourself because you deserve better.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't I'm not sure how many people are going through that. And I have not gone through it, so I have no idea what it's like, and I'm not a therapist. But in order if you know someone who's going through that, there are a couple ways that you can help. You can communicate concern to this person and communicate a concern of their safety, but do it in a non-judgmental way. And the first thing I would actually say is the person has to know and has to make the choice that they want to get help. Because if they are not in a situation where they want to get help, unfortunately for the person who's trying to help, they're not going to be able to hear anything because they're going to be stuck in their own head. But as I said, you can communicate concern without judgment, and you can reflect back that they're the ones in charge. It is not, despite what the other partner has said, they have the power to make the move. They have, they have the strength to get out of that relationship. And and even if you have to continue to communicate that message to them, just be there as a support so that at least someone is there monitoring her or him, their safety. Then so be it. And also remind them that they are good and they are loved and they deserve to be happy. Because in those moments, they're going to feel worthless because this person has completely brainwashed them to, I'm assuming that they're feeling, bad about themselves and thinking that it's their fault when it's completely not. So just being a support to that person and really being there for them. And with a really, scary situation, all of that needs like safety planning, careful safety planning, and support. So doing that all very carefully with that person's permission, because in the end, they have to give permission. And I do have numbers here. I don't know if you want me to give them.
Go ahead.
But there are a couple numbers that you can call if you are in distress or you want someone just to talk to get some help or advice or what to do next. So there is the Ontario Domestic Violence Hotline, which is 1-888-863 and then 0511. There is also, you can call 211 and it's a 24-hour service as well. And then we don't talk a lot about this, but I do want to make a point of saying this because all of it's important, is male sexual abuse. That number is 1-866-887-0015 because it's not an isolated issue with women. It happens to everyone. So I hope that you guys will be able to support the people in your life that are going through that. I can't even imagine. But yeah, it's to go back to all of this, to not get into those relationships, or at least to, sometimes people just turn into, crazy people. But if you can mitigate your risk and you can assess the situation, if you can prepare yourself beforehand and know what you want and have those boundaries in place so that you can, be able to say, hey, I you know what, I think you're great, but I don't really like that. Is there any way that you could stop doing that? Or can we do this a different way? Whatever the situation is, voice your opinion. Because if they don't know what your boundaries are, they don't know. And they're not going to be able to, change and adapt with you if they don't, if you're too scared or if you're, worried that they're going to be upset or leave you. Wouldn't you rather have them leave you and you voice your opinion because they weren't the right person? Or would you rather, and this was my issue, stay in a relationship that tested your boundaries every day for a very long time? And would you rather stay in that and be completely unhappy? I don't know. I'd say voice your opinion and state your boundaries.
So Jennifer just asked basically, do you tell them your boundaries, or do you wait till they mess up or do something that is out of your boundary and then let them know?
I think it's kind of a case by case basis, but I think here's the thing, guys. I think that you should be communicating about what you want in a relationship. So if it's a minor thing, then yeah, I guess not wait, but you can always say, hey, just letting you know that if this ever happened, this would be not something I would be okay with.
Mm-hmm.
But if it happens, and you haven't said anything, you can still say, hey, I don't appreciate this. Can you not do that? Either way, you know, they're going to have to adapt. And if they don't, that's where you have to question what you want.
So isn't this like basically what you were saying earlier in terms of like getting to know the individual? Don't you think that is something that should be discussed?
Yes.
Along the weeks and the months that you're knowing this person, that you should discuss those things in terms of boundaries and see if this is something that you really want to put yourself into or not.
And I sit here and like boundaries is probably the thing that I have to work on the most because I clearly have not been able to use them in the past. And this goes for not only like romantic relationships and dating, this goes for like jobs and like your career and family. Any type of relationship. You should be able to, voice what doesn't feel right for you.
Mm.
Because in the end, what does not doing anything do for you?
I agree. I agree 100%. And
Yeah.
Angela's asking, what's your opinion on of settling, knowing that
Oh God, don't do it. I have lots of opinions about settling. Um, I don't know. I guess because like I'm still on the journey to, finding my person, but because I quote unquote settled for so many years and I was unhappy and I just felt like going through the motions and like knowing in my heart that something should change, but obviously not listening to that and giving myself anxiety and, panic attacks and all that good stuff. But being able to, not settling is like choosing a partner who actually believes in the things that you do, treats you the way that you should be treated. You can have great conversations with, you can have great intimacy with, you can go on adventures and travel together. That's not settling. What is settling is knowing that a person is like, they're okay. They check most of my boxes, but they don't really turn my crank. That's settling.
I agree. What about she's asking, what about the 80-20 rule? What, you've heard of it?
This is we're
That's
again like it's getting into the honestly, if you want answers, just go within.
okay.
Just feel how you feel in that relationship.
Yeah.
And I mean, I am a person with anxiety. So it's hard to decipher anxiety from your true thoughts. But if you're able to and I wouldn't even say meditate, you could literally just go to a room, sit in the quiet and just be with your thoughts, you journal,
Mhm.
and the answer will come. And if it doesn't come, you can ask the question like, what happens now? What do I do now, universe? And again, that's very woo-woo. But the answer will come. You don't have to make a decision right away. It's really about stepping back and is this the right person? The true colors are going to show
Mhm.
at some point. So it's just like I've said this word a trillion times, and you guys probably all hate it if you've been listening to day one, but be curious and know yourself.
Mhm.
And just have conversations with yourself. And that's not like some crazy, creepy thing, but your body actually tries to talk to you. You just need to be able to listen to it.
Mhm. Yeah, because you're right. It's not a creepy thing. It could actually, you said, talking to yourself. My mom said is when you answer yourself back, that's when you know you have a serious problem. You could talk to
Well, no,
yourself.
you're gonna answer yourself, but it'll be your,
When you're having conversations with yourself as a third person, that's when you know what?
oh,
The
well,
wagon
yes.
right there. So
Yeah.
I have, I listened to what you were saying earlier and the ideas of what you were saying and the information that you were sending out for people. And I do agree on what you're saying. And I said it in a couple of my shows for the past three shows, last three shows. This domestic violence thing, it really needs to stop. It
Yeah.
really, really, really needs to stop. And I agree with you. I think that a lot of these females are in a position where they are not in a position to get help. Because right now with the pandemic, you can't do anything. You can't go anywhere. So basically, you got to depend on a phone call. The hope
Yeah.
that this phone call will be the one to save your life, but you just can't leave to go anywhere and do anything. So they're just trapped in this house with
So
this.
I have to say, like, if you don't feel comfortable calling one of those numbers, reach out to me.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't mind. I will help you. I will connect you with the people that you not need to connect. But it's literally all about just taking the step.
Mm.
Just knowing that you have to do it and taking that step. Because once you do that, things will get better because you now have a person who supports you. Hi.
They want to reach out to you if they want to contact you. How would they do that information wise?
You can reach out to me on the Joy Tribe Co. Facebook, Instagram, and you can also go to my website. That's www.thejoytribeco.ca. And reach me there. And I'm happy to talk to anyone if they're going through some issues and finding, if you need help, just contact me.
Yeah.
I'm happy to help.
And I'm glad that you actually addressed that today. I actually am. And because I know there are some people out there who really do need that help, and the information is always valid.
Yeah.
Once again, before you go, I wouldn't mind if you just share that information, the contact, the number, one more time before you go.
Yep. I do want to say this, though, for anyone who's listening, going through that, you deserve better.
Mm-hmm.
You are valuable. You are loved despite what you feel. You are loved and you mean something and your life means something.
Mm-hmm.
So with that said, I'm going to give you the the numbers once again. So it is the Ontario Domestic Violence Hotline, which is 888-863-0511. 211 by phone, and that's a whole host of services, but they also can help with the domestic violence. So that's a 24-hour service. And then last but definitely not least is the male sexual abuse line, which is 866-887-0015. And hopefully I have those numbers correct for you. And if not, you can, the internet is a magical place. You can find them online.
Do anything on the internet now, man.
That's right.
Aaron, I want to thank you very, very much. And next week, there actually is someone here sent me a message earlier, and they wanted to, well, basically what you were talking about, settling. You just give a bunch of different definitions about settling. So next week, we really need to start, address the settling thing, because I do agree with you with it. Don't settle.
Oh, friend, we got some stuff to talk about.
Don't settle. So next week, we definitely going to get on topic about that, Aaron, for sure.
Yep.
Right,
yeah.
So thank you.
And happy to hear what more people want to hear about and talk about, because I would love to give the people what they want.
You'll get that, definitely. So guys, remember, if you want to talk about any topics at all, feel free to link us here on Pulse Radio with the information, or tell them again, Aaron, your website and how to reach you.
Yeah, so it's www.thejoytribeco.ca.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Aaron. We'll do this next week, same time, same place, same station. Enjoy the rest of your week.
I will, guys. Have a great week. See you next week.